Tony, just how good was it to see Charlie kind of have that night tonight?
Awesome for me, but I think better for the fans. He's a fan favorite here as much as anyone I've seen, and I like going to a lot of the sporting events. But he's kind of got that vibe. Now, it helps when you play in front of a good crowd. I mean, last night we didn't talk about it much, but that's a pretty good opening day crowd, especially when you open on a Tuesday. And then tonight, I was kind of, wanting them to see Joyce's, Joyce has a brother, obviously, and many of the people stuck around, even though the game kind of went on for a while and the score became, in our favor. But good for all those guys to get out there and get cheered for. But Charlie seems to be the one that gets the loudest, not just from our fans, but our dugout too. He's that type of kid.
Do you think he needed that confidence boost at the plate, or is that just an extra bonus?
I think he just needed a new bat. Louisville takes care of us, and he had a certain size bat he wanted, certain modification, and they get him hooked up today. And he mentioned in the cage he likes it and it's feeling good, and he's fully capable of that. He's as strong as anybody. In the weight room, and part of that is work ethic, and by nature he's strong too. Comes from a family where they take nutrition and work ethic pretty serious, so we inherited that. So when he gets it, he can run it out of here, and he did a couple times, I think, in the Fall World Series. One of them was a walk-off, and again, our park does play smaller on some days, but if you pay attention, things will even out. I mean, Dickey might have had one taken away by the wind blowing in, and therefore it goes foul, and then Chuck had one that was knocked down, but heck, he hit the second one so strong the wind wasn't a factor.
What have you liked about what you've seen from Dreiling and Chapman? Good interaction so far?
Yeah, I mean, both are guys that need to play. It helps when you have some room for air. You want to be in the win column, and it helps to have a lead where you can joystick some guys. But they're both guys, if we played our first 10 games, that kind of deserve 4 or 5 starts. I'm just throwing out random numbers, but these are two guys that turned down money to come here, and coming from no money and then also having been in recruiting for a long time, I'll forever be in debt and appreciate kids and families that say no to money up front. And they do it because they're, it's not ready, it's not their time, a lot of circumstances. It's not a pro ball versus college thing, but the fact those guys are here, we're blessed, because they very easily have the talent to be in Arizona right now, still, even though our team came back here, if that makes sense. So pretty flat swing right there. Dylan put on that one today and smoked it, and it's good for Reese to get the first one out of the way, and a lot of firsts have now been knocked out. We can move on with business.
5 batters faced, 5 strikeouts for Zach Joyce to start the season. What have you seen from him?
He just makes me feel good in the dugout, is what I told Seth Halverson. He was next to me, and certain guys go about it differently, so it's not like guys can't do well out there and not give you that feel good. But yesterday was Russell, today was him. Obviously getting results, but the presence itself, pretty dang good stuff coming out too. It's hard to hydrate with this deal going on. So
Griffin Merritt getting his first hit for Tennessee after sitting the first 2 games with the suspension and then struggling a little bit. What do you think that'll do for his confidence?
I think it'll help him settle into being who he is, and you've started to see it with some guys. Jared yesterday, and you could argue today, I know the results weren't quite there, but with the one swing he put on one and just how he looked the last 2 days, settling more into who he is. It's when the season starts, you have a clean slate. That can be a good thing or a bad thing. You want everything to stay perfect or stay great. Well, good luck with that. You're going to take some blows, and you're hoping to give some blows. And then also when you step into a program where we've been fortunate enough to have success the last few years, you want to emulate what you saw prior to. Fergie was a good second baseman, blah, blah, Well, that's not going to work either. You can learn things from a Kobe Bryant or a Bryce Harper or whoever, but you can only be you. And we have added Griffin for a reason, and he looked like himself tonight.
Is Wyatt Evans available?
He's sore right now, so he's going through a throwing program, and Camden Sewell's similar, where you all would rather see us, our fans would rather see us win the last series of the regular season than the first. And it's not like we didn't take last weekend serious. Trust me, we did just as much as Grand Canyon and Arizona and UCSD. But those are 2 guys where we wanted to be conservative, and they're similar guys that are throwing for us in these games where, Joyce, for instance, is just coming back. I mean, he's thrown the ball this well in scrimmages too, but we're we're not babying him, but we'd like to progress him along. So, yeah, he's capable right now of facing a hitter if we really needed him to, but we're going with a progression approach.
How important was it to mix up some of those guys in the infield? I saw Moore go over to short, and Kyle Booker came in and played second. Just in games like this, just to kind of stay ready.
Yeah, we've done it in scrimmages, but we talked last night in here about how scrimmages are different than actual games. So even if you don't get a play out there, which Simo and Jazzy, I thought they were going to duke it out for that fly ball. But even if you don't get a play, at least you can check the box of, you know, to me as a coach, the last thing you want to hear is an excuse. You just want guys to give forth their best effort. But as a coach, it's up to us to put them in a good position. And again, we've checked a lot of boxes for first, and I don't know what our lineup is. I mean, Reese, Dylan, there's other guys that could break into it. There's other guys that could settle into being who they are a little bit better, like we talked about with Griff. So we might do some more mixing and matching as the non-conference season pushes along here.
What do you see from Xander? Just 2 appearances into the season and then tonight as well.
Yeah, steady Eddie. You know, I think the one thing we have is the flexibility to use him in the bullpen. With Redmond Walsh no longer being gone, us going a little slower with Wyatt. He's a guy who you can trust to field his position, come in, throw strikes, have composure when he comes out of the bullpen. But also he's done a phenomenal job for us starting when we give him the opportunity. And you never know. You go to Hoover, if we qualify for that, if you're fortunate enough to play in the postseason after that, then you may need a 4th, 5th starter, or you may use one of your starters in relief and a guy gets bumped up or something like that. So it's good to now have another guy who you can maybe put in that Swiss Army knife category.
What do you know about Dayton?
You know, last weekend they played a really well-coached team, new management, if you will, at Western Kentucky, and we have kind of a bond from working with those guys. That you know, we're at a couple junior colleges, so a well-coached team. They got some talent. So while Dayton took 3 losses, they're probably much more determined than they even were the first weekend, and now they've got some reps under their belt, and they've also played against good competition in Western Kentucky. So, and I've been in that position before. When you're working at a northern school, you don't want excuses, but you do need time outside, and you do need to catch up in repetitions to maybe a Florida or Florida International or whoever it might be. So they'll be ready to rock and roll.